Why the Idaho college murders shook the nation. In the quiet college town of Moscow, Idaho, a nightmare unfolded that would haunt the nation. 4 promising students were brutally stabbed to death in their off-campus home in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. No signs of forced entry. No immediate suspects. Just terror, silence, and a small community forever changed. Now, nearly 2 years later, the man accused of this horrifying crime, Bryan Kohberger, is finally heading to trial, and new rulings are shaking the courtroom. How solid is the DNA evidence? Why did the judge deny the defense's push to throw it out? And what else do we now know about the suspect, who was once just another grad student studying criminal justice? You're watching Crime Cipher, where we decode the biggest mysteries behind the headlines. In today's video, we're breaking down everything you need to know about the upcoming trial, the court's latest decision, and the dark timeline that led to one of the most chilling cases in recent history. If you're into real crime updates and courtroom drama, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Crime Cipher, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new case breakdown. What happened in Moscow, Idaho? On November 13th, 2022, the college town of Moscow was rocked by an unimaginable crime. 4 University of Idaho students, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Goncalves, were found brutally murdered in their shared rental home just off campus. The victims were young, vibrant, and full of promise. According to autopsies, they were likely asleep when attacked, and some had defensive wounds, suggesting a chaotic and horrifying scene. The small town, home to just about 25,000 residents, hadn't seen a homicide in years. As details slowly emerged, the entire country followed the case with a mixture of grief and fear. Who could do something so violent, and why? The killer left behind almost no digital trail, but one small piece of evidence would soon become the key to everything: the sheath of a knife. The arrest of Bryan Kohberger. After weeks of near silence from law enforcement, a major breakthrough came in late December 2022. Bryan Kohberger, a 30-year-old PhD student at nearby Washington State University, was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. He was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. His arrest was the result of a complex investigation involving cell phone data, vehicle tracking. This week, the case took a major legal turn. Kohberger's defense team filed a motion to suppress the DNA evidence, claiming that law enforcement had violated constitutional rights during the investigation. They argued that the police used investigative genetic genealogy without a warrant to sift through relatives' DNA on public ancestry sites. They also claimed that any evidence derived from this method should be deemed inadmissible in court. It was a bold strategy. If the court threw out the DNA, the entire case could unravel. But Judge Stephen Hippler ruled against the defense, stating that the police had acted lawfully and that the DNA evidence would stand. This decision was a major win for prosecutors and cleared a significant hurdle ahead of the trial. What we know about Kohberger. Bryan Kohberger wasn't a drifter or an outsider. He was deeply embedded in the academic world of criminal justice. Before enrolling at Washington State University, just 9 miles from the crime scene, he studied psychology at Northampton Community College in Pennsylvania. He later earned a bachelor's degree and completed graduate studies at DeSales University. By all accounts, Kohberger was meticulous, intelligent, and unusually fascinated by the criminal mind. In fact, some online sleuths uncovered old Reddit posts in which he appeared to solicit input from criminals about how they planned or executed crimes. He wasn't just studying criminal behavior, he seemed obsessed with it. The house where it happened. In December 2023, just 1 year after the murders, the rental home where the crime occurred was demolished. Some saw it as a way to help the community heal, while others felt it destroyed a vital piece of evidence and history. Regardless of the differing opinions, one thing is certain: the house on King Road will forever be part of Idaho's darkest chapter. The demolition didn't erase the trauma, it merely signaled the end of one phase of the story and the beginning of another. A trial looms, and the nation is once again watching. The trial ahead. Kohberger's trial is now officially set to begin in August 2025. The prosecution has announced that they will seek the death penalty if he is convicted. The stakes couldn't be higher. Meanwhile, a gag order has been issued, meaning neither side is allowed to speak publicly about the case. Cameras won't be allowed in the courtroom either, so updates will come only through official channels. The defense may continue to challenge aspects of the investigation, but with the DNA evidence remaining admissible, the case against Kohberger is gaining strength. The big question now is whether a jury, public reaction, and national impact. This case has gripped the country like few others. It sparked debates about online sleuthing, privacy concerns in genetic genealogy, and even how media pressure impacts criminal investigations. For the families of the victims, justice still feels far away. But this summer, they may finally get answers and the chance to speak their truth in court. The tragic loss of Ethan, Zana, Madison, and Kaylee is still felt deeply across the University of Idaho and beyond. Their faces became symbols of innocence stolen, and their names will echo through the halls of justice in the months to come. Kohberger's odd behavior before and after the murders. There is no direct evidence placing him inside the house during the murders. The role of digital evidence and data tracking. Beyond DNA, digital evidence is playing a critical role in the case. Law enforcement used cell phone tower data to track Kohberger's movements, and surveillance cameras captured a white Hyundai Elantra near the crime scene around the time of the killings, a car later linked to him. His academic history also raises eyebrows. He reportedly submitted a research survey asking convicted criminals how they chose their victims and committed their crimes, further painting a disturbing psychological profile. As prosecutors build a narrative of premeditation and stalking, the digital footprint left behind could be a key piece of the puzzle. However, the defense is expected to challenge the interpretation of this data and whether it truly proves intent or guilt. The road to justice in the Idaho College murder case has been long and painful, but we're finally approaching a major turning point. The trial of Bryan Kohberger promises to be one of the most closely watched legal proceedings in years, and we'll be here every step of the way to break it all down. This is Crime Cipher. If you found this video informative, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single update from the courtroom. Stay safe, stay aware, and we'll see you in the next case.